Hey everybody, it's Jeff from San Diego Seed Company, and today I've got my pepper socks on, both feet, which means we are starting pepper seeds today. Today you're gonna learn everything you need to know how to start pepper seeds. It's one of the hardest vegetable seeds to grow because it takes forever to germinate, it has to stay wet, it doesn't like cold temperatures. There's a lot of things that can help you fail at pepper seeds, and I'm gonna help you hopefully not fail. But before we get into that, please don't forget to like and subscribe so you're in the know every time we put out a new video. Okay, so first things first, pepper seeds, what are they? Everybody knows what peppers are. YOLO here, jalapeno, a spicy one, red cherry sweet, nardello sweet, anything from 0 on the Scoville rating all the way up to, what do we have here? Pimento, those aren't spicy. Scotch bonnet, those are really spicy. Pretty much any type of pepper is going to need the same thing. They want to stay warm. The temperature of the soil is the most important part to get these things to germinate, but even then it could take upwards to 3 weeks for them to germinate, so they're tricky. When do you start pepper seeds? In zone 9 and 10, you can start them as early as December as long as you have either a greenhouse that stays warm or an indoor seed starting. So today we're talking about how to do them indoors because I have some lights inside that we'll see soon. Let's say you're watching this video in April and you're like, oh, I love peppers, I love gardening, I want to start some. It's not too late. That's the beauty of zone 9 and 10. You can start peppers all the way through maybe May and still get a crop in before it gets too chilly for them. Peppers do grow so slowly. The sooner you start them, the better. I typically start peppers before my tomatoes, and then the tomatoes grow so quick, they're ready to go out in the garden about the same time. Okay, so whatever month it is, December, January, February, how do you start peppers? Well, I've got a tray right here, 32 cells, individual cups. I've already made my plant markers. I've already got my seeds. I know how many I need to plant because I write it right here on the plant marker. Where do we go from here? I could totally take my potting soil, take a cup, dip it, fill it up, but I'm not gonna do that. That takes way too long. This method is a little messier, but way faster. I'm just gonna dump soil right in the middle until it starts to overflow, and I'm gonna spread it out until I fill every cup up. One thing that's tricky about this style of seed starting tray is, especially if you leave them outside like I do, the plastic starts to warp. You get this kind of like undulation in the tray, which isn't so great if you're bottom watering because it pushes some cups higher than others. So depending on your tray, that's something you're gonna wanna look out for. What's up, Sam?
Love you.
Love you too, bud. This is Sam, say hi.
Hi. Hope you have a good video, Mr. Dad.
I will.
And he's also married, to let you know.
Yeah, married ladies. Sam wanted you to know that. Okay, so as you can see, I've got them too full, so I just go through here. I pick out a little bit of each cup. And once I water this in, this soil level is gonna lower quite a bit. So if you overfill them, don't worry, you're gonna be able to compress the soil later with the water. For those of you who have never started seeds, the key to seed starting is moisture. So you really can't put soil straight from the bag into your starting tray and then expect it to take on water like you want it to. Soil is often hydrophobic depending on what type you're using. So it's a really good idea to give it a good soaking before you even start to plant. So let's do that now. I'm gonna get these seeds out of the way because I don't want to get all of them wet because then they will all germinate. Okay, so I've got my hose on a nice rain setting. I'm just gonna give these a good soak. Great, so that looks really good. I'm gonna go through and pick out some of these wood pieces because one thing that's gonna inhibit germination is if there's anything big sitting on top of the seed, which we don't want. Which that brings me to our next tip, and that is sifted soil. If you've watched our channel at all, anytime Bridget talks about seed starting, we're gonna sift the soil. And what that does, you'll see in just a second. So I'm gonna put a couple handfuls here, and I'm just gonna sift it into this catch tray. I'm just gonna throw this into the garden because that's good, healthy stuff. We just don't want it on top of our seeds. So I'm gonna sift just enough to be able to cover 32 cells. Let's talk planting depth real quick. The rule of thumb is plant a seed twice as deep as the width of the seed. So you'll see pepper seeds are really close in size to tomato seeds. If I can find them. Oh, I put them in my pocket. Darn it. So let's see, what are we gonna plant first? So let me put my plant tags in so I know what we're doing here. Pimento, 2. Merlot Bell, 2. Thai, 2. Red, and yellow, 6. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these seeds. Up first, pimento. I highly recommend marking your trays before you start, because trust me, you're gonna forget which ones you've done and which ones you haven't. You're gonna mislabel them, so mark those first. So there's our pepper seeds. They're decent size. We recommend planting them about 1/4 inch deep. So what I'm gonna do is not going to just poke a hole, because typically what happens is you just poke too deep and then they get planted too deep and then it takes them too long to germinate, etc., etc. So I've got about 1/4 inch left at the top of these. So I'm just gonna take 2 seeds and I'm gonna put them right on the top. Oops, I got 3. My hands are a little wet, so they stuck. Anywhere from 1 to 3 seeds. And the only reason you're doing multiple is we get really good germination rate, but not perfect. As I mentioned, pepper seeds are really tricky, so give yourself 3 chances for them to come up. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my sifted soil. See, there's no large chunks in here. It's nice, airy soil, and I'm just gonna put 1/4 inch on top. Okay, so that's it. I've got 1/4 inch of soil on top. I'm gonna wait until I finish the entire tray to give these guys another drink, but you are gonna wanna definitely soak the soil on top of this. As I mentioned, the only way a seed can germinate is if it's wet. Let me just plant the rest of these real quick, and then I've got some other tips that are gonna ensure success when it comes to pepper. So let me do this. So don't be afraid to try to plant old seed. These were packed for 2020, it looks like, maybe, yeah, 2020. Anytime I'm using older seed, they are gonna lose a little bit of their viability. So I'm just gonna plant a couple extra to increase my odds. I'm living on the edge here. I'm only planting 1 seed per cell in these last 3 because I ran out. But I think they'll be okay. Okay, so that's it. You'll notice one thing that I did not do, and that's soak the seeds. There's a lot of people on the internet that suggest to soak seeds. You can, it would totally help them, but practically, if I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 11 different varieties, that means I've got to have 11 different vessels. And if you do the paper towel method, that means you got 11 pieces of paper towel. And to me, it's just, yeah, it does soften that seed shell, but it's just not worth it. I'd rather keep them moist in the soil, and it's the exact same thing as keep doing it in a bag. Okay, so let's see if I sifted enough soil to cover all these, and then we'll give them a drink, and then we'll go inside and put them under the lights and learn about heat mats. I'm just gonna visually check and make sure I put enough on top. Again, we want about 1/4 inch. That was a little high. Let me add a couple to these that are low, but we're looking pretty good. Now that they have contacted water, what we don't want to ever do, ever, is let these dry out. If they dry out, done. The root is going to dry up if the tap roots come out, and you're not going to have peppers. So the key to any seed starting, but especially peppers, since they have such a long time to germinate, upwards to 3 weeks, sometimes even more, you're going to want to keep these wet the entire time. Notice the setting is on a rain setting. I did not do that because it would completely destroy what I've done here and spray the seeds everywhere and the seed starting mix, and it's just a mess. So mist setting is even better than what I did. But if you're gentle, you can use a shower setting. Should have went the other way. Come on, I know you're in. There we go, there's mist. If you guys have a mist setting, you can go ahead and do mist. Get my phone wet. Good thing the iPhone's waterproof, or hope it is. Okay, so one tip that I don't utilize but would be very helpful, especially for pepper seeds, is a humidity dome. If you've ever seen, they're just clear pieces of plastic that are meant to stay on here. I would recommend, if you can get your hands on one, to use them for your pepper seeds, because that's going to keep the moisture in and keep the top of the soil moist for longer until they germinate. Then you can go ahead and take the dome off. But let's go inside and check out the setup, the heat mat and the lights, a few more things to get you well on your way. Let's go.